You ever see someone stumble into history by just being themselves? Yeah, that just happened. A kid who once barked into a webcam for laughs somehow found himself praised by the Chinese government. Not for politics, not for policy, but for vibes. Let that sink in. IShowSpeed, the wildcard streamer who once lit fireworks indoors, went from chaotic energy to international envoy without even realizing it. And while most influencers are busy chasing followers with reheated drama and $5 podcast mics, Speed did something different. He got on a plane. See, most creators treat the internet like it ends at the border. Speed, he took the chaos global. Brazil, the UK, Indonesia, and now China. Not just visiting, connecting. And not just with fans, with entire cultures. And here's the wild twist. While some streamers are out here being digital delinquents abroad, Speed's out there shaking hands, cracking jokes, and somehow soft-launching global diplomacy. One government official even posted about him. Yeah, a full-blown recognition. Diplomatic vibes. Accidental addition. People are calling it social credit points. Half joking, half shocked. But let's be real. What other streamer is casually getting state-level nods just for being himself? Meanwhile, back home, some influencers haven't even left their bedroom since 2020. They're running 24-hour subathons in pajamas while Speed is out here fasting for Eid in Dubai and getting recognized on the streets of Shanghai. And don't even get me started on the commentary. Wait, Speed is in China? Bro's unlocking global achievements like it's GTA. First dude to turn a live stream into a peace treaty? Meanwhile, I can't even get customer service to answer me in my own country. Speed didn't just show up, he showed out. Respectfully. He didn't pander, didn't pretend, just brought himself. The good, the chaotic, the heartfelt. And for people in countries who rarely see celebrities outside of scripted media tours, that's powerful. This wasn't LeBron flying in for 5 minutes with a translator. This was a 19-year-old dancing in the streets, eating the food, learning the customs, and broadcasting it to millions. He made the world smaller, not with a press release, but with curiosity. So now the question isn't just how big can a streamer get, it's how far can authenticity take you? You're watching True Story. And this might be the strangest diplomacy story you'll hear all year. Imagine being so famous in a country where you're technically banned. That's not just fame, that's supernatural level stardom. I'm talking about IShowSpeed, a guy who somehow became a household name in China, without China even having YouTube. That's like becoming prom king at a school you never attended. Now, if that doesn't blow your mind, sit tight, because it gets weirder. While most streamers are stuck chasing clout by collabing with whoever's trending on Twitter, Speed went global in the most unexpected way. Not just trending, transcending. China's TikTok, Douyin, was live streaming his content to millions. Millions of people in a country that can't even access his main platform. Think about that. He's pulling more viewers than the NBA Finals, in a country that legally shouldn't know who he is. That's not influencer status. That's geopolitical sorcery. And here's where it gets interesting. While most streamers are busy launching merch or rapping offbeat diss tracks, Speed casually walks into China and gets acknowledged by their government. Yup, official praise. A tweet from the Chinese authorities basically said, "This guy's helping bridge cultural gaps." Let that sink in. The Chinese government, not exactly known for handing out compliments, gave props to a guy who barks on live streams. Now, here's the bigger picture. In a time when US-China relations are hanging by a diplomatic thread, we have a 20-year-old American streamer getting welcomed like he's a cultural ambassador. And sure, it might sound ridiculous right now, but give it a decade. The people shaping global opinion might not be politicians or billionaires. They might just be guys like Speed, who accidentally become the most powerful diplomats on Earth because they're unfiltered and real. Because while we've all been taught certain truths about other countries, poverty, propaganda, people riding bikes into the future, the reality is a lot more complex. And that's what Speed is showing millions of people who've never left their neighborhood. And it's not just China. Every country has its own myths about everyone else. Americans, for example, are often seen as burger-eating, gun-toting reality TV extras. And we're not helping ourselves, let's be honest. But that doesn't mean it's the whole story. I remember when I first traveled to Hong Kong, I was bracing myself for culture shock. People online warned me I'd be treated like an exhibit, stared at, touched, maybe even chased for selfies. You know what actually happened? Nothing weird. People were chill, friendly even. Turns out, the internet isn't always the best travel guide, so maybe the real takeaway here isn't just that Speed is popular, but why he's popular, because he's not afraid to show up, face the unknown, and prove people wrong. And maybe, just maybe, that's what real influence looks like. They banned YouTube in China, and yet somehow IShowSpeed just pulled 4 million live viewers from there. Let that sink in. A guy who technically shouldn't even exist on their digital map is basically doing laps around NBA Finals numbers. That's not just viral, that's global infiltration without a passport. And here's the real kicker. It's not just digital clout. This man walks into Chinese cities and people mob him like he's some futuristic messiah in Nike tech. We're talking street parades, dance-offs, spontaneous national pride. Meanwhile, half the world still thinks China is stuck in the 90s with rice paddies and bicycles. Spoiler alert, China's skyline looks like it was designed by Elon Musk on mushrooms. But here's where it gets weird. In a good way. Speed isn't just doing his regular stream shtick overseas. He's showing respect. That rare ingredient in influencer soup. No clown behavior, no look at me being wild in an ancient temple moments. Nah. He's bowing at sacred sites, posing for pictures like a polite tourist dad, and engaging with locals like he actually wants to learn something. And here's where things get even spicier. For years, Americans, especially Black Americans, have been fed horror stories about going to China. They'll stare at you, touch your hair, call you a walking Netflix subscription. But when real people actually go, like normal people, turns out, not much of that happens. Shocking, right? Most folks go to cities like Beijing or Shanghai, places that look like Blade Runner had a baby with Dubai. And guess what? They're treated just fine, because just like us, they're not all sitting around watching propaganda reruns. They're living their lives, swiping on TikTok clones, and apparently throwing impromptu raves when Speed pulls up. But we believed those stereotypes for years, didn't we? Because repetition breeds belief. You hear a lie enough times, it becomes your truth. That's how propaganda works. And we've all been victims of it. I mean, Jordan has friends who expected to land in China and get treated like aliens from a viral conspiracy theory. Instead, people were chill. Curious maybe, but respectful. No circus behavior, just human to human. Meanwhile, Speed's out there doing more than just breaking cultural myths. He's bridging gaps between governments. The Chinese government itself dropped posts praising him. And I'm not saying he's gonna single-handedly fix US-China relations, but if things get patched up and Speed gets credit in a history book, I won't be shocked. And yet, there's a dark side lurking beneath the TikTok sparkle. While Speed is out there redefining what it means to be a Black American abroad, there are other creators, like Johnny Somali, who treat Asia like their personal shock content playground. Offensive stunts, harassment for clicks, total disrespect. So when some folks overseas act weird or even racist, it's not out of nowhere. It's a distorted reflection of what they've been shown. Because think about it. In countries where YouTube is banned, where Western media filters through with heavy bias, what do you think their image of Black Americans looks like? Probably not Will Smith at the Oscars. Probably not Barack Obama giving a speech. No, they get the viral train wrecks, the wild behavior, the worst-case clips that confirm every stereotype they've been told. And that is why Speed's trip matters. It's not just content, it's counter-narrative. It's proof that authenticity, respect, and humanity can cut through even the thickest digital Iron Curtain. This isn't about travel vlogs or chasing views. This is about perception, and the few people bold enough to change it. So the next time someone tells you the world is against you, or that people over there will never understand you, remember this story. Remember Speed in China, 4 million deep, showing love and getting it back. Not because he screamed louder than anyone else, but because he showed up with respect. Now tell me, what kind of story are you showing the world? You ever notice how one loud fool can make an entire population look bad? It's the same logic as judging an entire restaurant because one waiter had an attitude, or deciding a whole country's dangerous because your cousin's friend's uncle had a weird cab ride once. Yeah, that's the kind of lazy thinking that's running the world right now. And we're not even ashamed of it. We just post it, share it, hashtag it, and sleep better. But here's the kicker. What if the so-called ignorant people we criticize are actually just mirrors reflecting our own lack of depth? Wild, right? Let's talk about this guy. Famous online, globe-trotting, visiting China. Not just the tourist traps, he's out there in temples, talking to locals, actually interacting with the place. Respectfully. No loud flexing, no fake drama, just curiosity. And the internet? It doesn't know what to do with that. Because for years, we've been fed this narrative. Oh, China is backward. It's strict, it's scary, they hate Americans, especially black ones. But this dude, he's dancing in the streets, getting married, clicking selfies with strangers, no hostility, no racism, just smiles. So now people are confused. Why? Because reality doesn't match the script they memorized from viral tweets and TV news. And instead of adjusting their view, they just double down. Well, maybe he got lucky. Lucky? Luck isn't a passport stamp. It's perspective. Now contrast that with the chaos makers like Johnny Somali, stirring up mess in Asia for attention, weaponizing controversy. It's like sending a clown to represent your entire town, then being surprised when people think y'all juggle for a living. But here's where it gets dark. Some viewers aren't just watching, they're absorbing, internalizing, believing that one streamer, one crazy clip, one incident defines a whole race or an entire culture. That's not ignorance anymore. That's intellectual laziness with a Wi-Fi connection. And Jordan's gonna say it flat out. If your worldview is built off YouTube comments and viral outrage, you're not forming opinions. You're collecting secondhand trauma. Meanwhile, the guy we're watching, he's not out there screaming for attention. He's low-key fixing bridges, human bridges, between countries, between cultures. And here's the plot twist. He's doing it by just being decent. No debates, no deep talks, just showing up, showing respect, and showing what real representation looks like. And yeah, some folks are yelling staged, could be. Wouldn't be the first time. Creators' fake stuff happens daily, doesn't mean the overall impact ain't real. Because whether that woman yelling racial slurs was acting or not, what matters is that we're finally talking about why people believe those slurs in the first place. That's the power of storytelling, even when it's messy. So maybe, just maybe, this guy isn't just entertaining fans. Maybe he's also teaching a generation that travel isn't about escaping your country. It's about escaping your assumptions. And if you think China is still stuck in the past, go look at their cities, their tech, their pace. While we're still arguing over parking lots and potholes, they're out here building entire cities that look like science fiction novels. And isn't that the irony? We mocked them as behind, and now we're the ones looking outdated. So yeah, you can keep believing what you read online, or you can get on a plane, get off your algorithm, and go find out for yourself. Your call. Because in the end, truth isn't what goes viral. It's what survives when the noise dies down.